Let's look at the recap of what I expected to what actually happened. For the Dolphins, they did take advantage of the turnover ratio slightly, 1-0. As far as the bend don't break defense, that was their mainstay that they've been doing for weeks, and this week was no different. The Raiders would get some decent plays, but once they got in the red zone, they were mainly stifled. As far as the short passing game, that was a big one, especially with when Tua was in. We'll talk about the grading in the pass offense with them later when they made the transition to Fitzpatrick during the game as well. As far as the sleeper goes, Durham Smythe didn't play as much because Gesicki was actually playing and did pretty well, especially when Fitzpatrick came in. He got 5 for 54. There were a couple targets he got. I think he had one reception. So for the Raiders, it looked like Carr came in and he was going to be their quarterback all along. So yeah, I think that was a deception or trying to be produced by Gruden and company. As far as establishing the running game, they basically did the complete opposite. They started out and were pass heavy. And I'm going to get into that in my rant and or my grading evaluation, whichever way you want to call it when we get to that as far as the coaching. The fundamentals, for the most part, they were there until near the end of the game. Some breakdowns and some stupid penalties, which ultimately cost them the game. As far as the Ruggs as a sleeper, it was not Ruggs, but it was Aguilar who got 5 for 155 and a touchdown, who got the big bomb. So, right idea, wrong person on that one. As far as the grading format goes, this is what I did last week. So I do offense, defense, and put those individually into groups, and then the special team and coaching, and then go through the final grades for each team. So for the offense for Miami, I gave it a B for as far as the run offense. Salva and Ahmed only had 6 for 2 yards. And it was only when Miles Gaston was put into the game and they incorporated him into it that their running game actually kind of took off. And I could see he was injured on the temporary IR list for a few weeks, and then he was on the COVID list for a while. So this was his first time back in a while. So as they eased him in, the running game kind of picked up. So I gave it a B. As far as their passing offense, a lot of it was mainly short passes and dump offs with Tua, and that's where Gaskin actually carved up the Raiders. He got 2 receiving touchdowns just based off of dump offs, and we'll go over the Raiders' defensive grades here shortly. Fitz was more of a long distance passing. He came in relief, but overall I gave it an A. They could pretty much do what they wanted to. As far as the total offense, I gave them a big plus. Like I said, uh, the running game wasn't quite there. It was kind of picking up a little bit more as the game went on, but their bread and butter was the pass. The Dolphins' run defense was very hit and miss. And this goes back to what I said about them bending but not breaking. Uh, Partially that, and partially that the Raiders did not really tie or put a lot of investment into their running game. But when they did, especially in the middle, it seemed like they were giving up 7, 8, 10 yards at a crack. But again, bend don't break. Third and short yardage situations, areas in the red zone. The defense stiffened up. They couldn't get anywhere. They did give up one fourth down conversion. But the Raiders were 1 for 2, and they stopped one, so they had a fourth down stand. I think in the early fourth quarter. As far as the passing defense, I was not impressed with Miami. The Raiders, I think it's probably more of a case where the Raiders' offense is kind of above average and their passing defense is kind of average and was showing. Again, it was similar to the Charger game where Waller could kind of do whatever he wanted. He had a lot of wheel routes inside, and then Nelson Aguilar burned him with a big one, 85-yard touchdown. Again, I gave him a C minus because they would give up some chunk plays, but usually when it counted, they were there and made some stops. That's why I said as far as the total defense, I gave them a B minus. Uh, and you can give up some passing yards, but if you can turn sevens into threes as far as scoring, that's a big deal. Special teams, I gave them an A minus. They did get a fumble recovery. However, it seemed that Renfro was getting some pretty decent run backs on them, and there was some missed tackling there. So I didn't want to give them a full A on that one. As far as the coaching goes, the preparation, they attacked the Raiders the way they should with a short passing game and that slow integration of Miles Gaskin into the run game and also the short passing game. So I gave them an A for that. And then the execution during the game, I think that was an A plus move. Mid to late third quarter, Tua in the offense was kind of stalling. It looked like the Raiders had their number. Uh, and then Coach Brian Flores, head coach, went to the bullpen basically and got Fitzpatrick out, and he was just kind of chucking the ball, and the Raiders didn't really have an answer for that. And that's what really got them into this game, into a position to win. You could say that they won the game, but you could also say the Raiders lost this game. We'll get into that once we go to the other side of the column here. So for a final grade for the Dolphins, I gave them a B plus. Overall, they're pretty solid. They are who I thought they were as far as the team. Not a lot of mistakes. Fundamentals, I think people have their defense a little bit overrated. I did like their outside linebackers, very quick. They could get to the quarterback, but they could also stop the run game. They're a little suspect inside, and as well as some of their secondary. Their offensive line was kind of hit and miss as far as pass blocking and run blocking. Raiders got a lot of pressure on them. So I think they're headed the right direction. I think the coaching is excellent. I think they're just a matter of time before they can actually contend for a Super Bowl. I think they're a playoff fringe team right now. But with that coaching and the foundation they have, I think they can go a long way in the future. All right, let's get into the Raiders. We'll talk about the good and bad and the ugly. That's pretty much what these columns are going to look like, and then have a little bit of ranting. First, the offense. Not bad. Not bad overall. Um, like I said, the run offense looked pretty good when they chose to run the ball. So if I'm going to ding them for that, I'll ding them on the coaching side for that. But when they actually ran the ball, they looked pretty good. Jacobs did have 69 yards, but that was only on 13 carries. So it's like 4.7, 4.8 yards per carry. So that's really good. He didn't have any receptions in the backfield, which I didn't understand. I think Richard only had one, but that would be getting the pass offense. They focused mainly on Waller and Aguilar as the deep threat, and it worked. I mean, that's basically what kind of kept them in this game, despite the issues they had trying to score touchdowns in the red zone and some of the breakdowns on defense. Overall, I give it a B. It was good, but there's some things that they need to do, change up in the red zone. The execution's not there. Derek Carr is a good passer. I know he's still injured from the groin injury last week, but you could tell he couldn't really scramble out and like run if he needed to. So that kind of that limited the offense, especially in the red zone when everybody's just playing zone. So overall, okay, good. But again, they need to convert those into touchdowns. All right, let's get into the bad portion, which would obviously be the defense. The run defense, again, was pretty solid. I think Marinelli has those guys playing good gap control for the most part. There was a few leaks, especially when Gaskin came in, but I think Gaskin's a special type of player. He kind of reminds me of a smaller version of Dalvin Cook, the way he kind of slashes in and out. So I think he's very talented, but overall, I think they did a good job with that. Obviously, they need to work on the pass defense, which is just fucking ridiculous. And as a Raider fan, I'm kind of sick and tired of looking at this team and seeing the same things over and over and over again. The dump off plays always get killed on them. Where are the outside linebackers? Who knows? Well, I'm sure they're there collecting their checks, so you know. And then the big plays late, especially the one with the the face mask issue that you can see on my on the title screen. Fitzpatrick actually made the pass on that anyway. Cornerback, nowhere to be found. All right, cool. Well, yeah, they still get paid. Who gives a shit, right? And then the total defense, it's an F because that's what killed them. Doesn't matter how often you stop the run. If you stop them and you get 3rd and 7 and they can convert every time, it doesn't mean shit. So it's ridiculous. And then that penalty, Arden Key. I know he's probably going to be a cap cut next year, but he's not. He is not doing himself any favors to try to stay on this team. Well, we've had the good, the bad, and now let's talk about the ugly. And let's just go down the list here. Special teams. They did lose the fumble. They missed that PAT, the extra point, and that was ultimately the difference because they lost by 1 point. So I mean, ultimately, you got to give them an F for that. The preparation and coaching, kind of sick and tired of John Gruden at this point. I think he's very overrated. I think he has a certain way of doing things, and there's no deviation. And maybe it worked 20 years ago. It doesn't work now. And it's unfortunate because we have him for another 7 years after this. This is the 3rd year on a 10-year deal. And the idiot Tommy Boy, Al Davis's son, Mark Davis, who doesn't even know how to get a fucking haircut, signed him to this big deal. And now we're basically kind of screwed with this guy. And he's not going to change. And that's why I put the execution. It's the Gruden way. There's no adjustments, no changes. When Fitzmagic came in, everybody just kind of stood around, watched him come back. It's per usual. If Carr's having an issue, mobility, maybe we could have put Mariota in, even on a temporary basis, like a Taysom Hill is used with the Saints, to give them a new wrinkle, get some athleticism in there. It's not there. They don't care. 3rd down and goal. Every fucking play is a rollout. It's a fake run, rollout. Nobody's there. Throw away, field goal. Tired of it. Tired of it. Tired of it. I'll give you 3 guesses on what the final grade is, but you only need 1. Yes, that's a big old fat F. This team, like I said, is in disarray. They've been officially eliminated with this loss. They've lost 6 of their last 7 games. They actually should be 7 in a row if it wasn't for that miracle in New York. And they have not played very well at all since that rematch game with the Chiefs where they lost 35-31. And it shows. And you have to level it at the coach. Ultimately, you see the same problems over and over again. They're not getting fixed. I know people are injured, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's got injuries. No more fucking excuses. There's no improvement, and there's no changes. And the big thing is there's no changes. We get back to the execution during the game. He's an old man. He's fucking stubborn, and he wants to do it his way, and he's already got his money, so he doesn't give a shit. So fuck off, Gruden. How about that? If you enjoyed my video and my rant, please give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, put a comment down. If you did, put a comment down. It'll just help me improve these videos. If you like the content, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and hopefully the Raiders can pull their heads out of their asses.